Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Thursday, November 12, 2020 session in our series on digital transformation in traditional and new industries in Asia. I'm Richard Dasher. I direct the U.S. Asia Technology Management Center at Stanford. We present this series, and we're very happy to recognize the financial support of the member companies in our center's industrial affiliates program. We couldn't do anything without their support, and we appreciate them and hope that you saw the slide that had the list of our 21 member companies before we got started. So today, we're going to talk about digital transformation in banking, which is a highly regulated sector. It's a sector that has traditionally been very conservative. I'm especially happy to welcome back a former visiting scholar who was with us a few years ago at the center, Mr. Michisuke Yamada of MUFG. MUFG Bank is probably Japan's largest commercial bank. Um, Before we get started, just a couple of items. If you have questions or when you have questions, please put them into chat. And then after Yamada-san finishes his prepared remarks, I will relay the messages, the questions that come in verbally to him. We do have an informal session after the formal seminar finishes at 5:50. So if you can stay behind for some informal off-the-record discussion, please stay with us at 5:50. It will finish up about 6:15 or 6:20. I also want to make a special plug for next week. The final session in our series is next week, and we have a keynote presentation by Mr. Thomas Siebel, the founder and CEO of C3. Mr. Siebel is well known as the founder of Siebel Systems, and he's recently written a book on digital transformation. So it will be great to hear his kind of perspectives to tie everything together. But as I mentioned, I'm delighted to be able to welcome back Mr. Yamada to the center and to our community to give a talk about digital transformation in banking. Yamada-san, the floor is yours.
Thank you for having me. And then, so let me start with my kind of professional bio. So my name is Michi Yamada, and then currently my role is head for America's global innovation team within MUFG. And then, so my career, actually MUFG is the only company which I have been working for. And then I joined this bank on 2003, right after I graduate of my university. At that time, my bank's name was the Bank of Tokyo Mitsubishi. Relatively longer than now. And then after that, I was transferred to e-business and IT initiatives division. It's kind of digital innovation types of division within our bank. And then I took a role for retail consumer related product like mobile app or account aggregation types of products. At that timing, as you know, so there was no iPhone, no smartphone. So mobile app means a kind of future from very traditional cell phone for application. And then after that, so I took a role for division planning and budget risk control types of things. Then I was transferred to Asian transaction banking office, which located in Singapore. And then around that timing, I was a kind of promotion person for cash management service product, like pooling system or things like that. Then after 2.5 years spending in Singapore, I back to Tokyo and then back to the digital innovation division in Tokyo. And at that timing, I did SNS marketing. And then around that timing, actually blockchain was evolving and then getting kind of buzzword. So I was in charge of a blockchain project as well. So, and then after that, 2016, like Dr. Dasha mentioned, so I was transferred to Stanford University and then just a kind of 1 year visiting scholar. So spending just a year in Stanford. And then after that, current position, so Global Innovation Team US. At that time, my office was in San Francisco, along with California Street. But now our office is located in Palo Alto, so along with University Avenue of Palo Alto, so very close to Stanford University, actually. Okay, so this slide saying my today's table of contents. So I'm gonna start with MUFG's overview first, and then mentioning regarding accelerating digital shift, kind of market situation or types of things. And then thirdly, so digital transformation, DX initiatives in MUFG, I'm gonna highlight, especially for these four topics. So reforming operational process, acceleration of the online channel shift, and also collaboration with digital platformers, and then data-driven financial services. So, okay, so let me start with MUFG overview first. Okay, so MUFG, so as Dr. Dasha mentioned, so MUFG is the Japanese largest financial institutions, as well as top 5 global biggest banks, actually. So currently, MUFG poses 34 million individual customers only in Japan, and 1.2 million for corporate customers. This is just for Japan. And also, we have about 180,000 of employees globally. Half is in Japan, another half are non-Japan area. So very kind of huge company. And this is a kind of extensive global network and history. So MUFG has a large network globally, having 2,700 plus branched globally in more than 50 countries. So also we have 360 plus years of history since originally established in Japan. Yeah, but sometimes this longer history goes well, but sometimes goes bad, especially for digital transformation area. Well, yeah, I'm gonna mention in later timing. And then so next slide is MUFG overview, so group structure. So this is our group structure, and then under MUFG holding on top of this, on top of that, so there are commercial bank, trust bank, securities, and then credit card companies. And then in addition to that, we have leasing company as well. Also, we own strategic alliance with Morgan Stanley Group since 2007 or 18, yeah, around 12 years ago, I think. Okay, so this is a kind of digital transformation structure within MUFG. So within head office in Tokyo, there is a group CDTO, Chief Digital Transformation Officer. Under his umbrella, so there is a digital transformation division, and then taking responsibility for DX within MUFG. Then under this DTD, so MUIP, this is a kind of investment arm for tech startups, and our team, Global Innovation Team, located. So, and then this Global Innovation Team has a kind of 4 locations globally. One is Silicon Valley. This is the biggest one. And the second one is New York, and then London and Singapore. So we have these 4 offices within Global Innovation Team. And then, so these main teams are co-working very closely. And then we are making DX-related strategy and execute them by pursuing open innovation types of activities with line of business teams. So yeah, so LLB, so needless to say, so there's a bank, trust bank, securities account. So whatever the kind of entities, we are always trying to make something new or something innovative within MUFG. Okay, so let me briefly mentioning regarding current market situation in Japan. So needless to say, so digital shift is happened everywhere, and now it becomes a kind of mega trend. And then COVID-19 has been changing a lot in our life. So human interaction is one of them, drastically reduced. So without any exception, so it is becoming imperative subject for every industries to make DX happen within each entity, industries. So banking business is, of course, one of them. So before moving to MUFG DX things, let me share interesting research results in Tokyo. So the left bar graph shows the channel consumer prefer before and after COVID. And then gray bar is before COVID, and the red bar is after. So as you can see, branch is losing its preference, whereas online or contactless channels are getting more attention. And then so the right bar graph shows the criteria for choosing switching bank. So interestingly, still branch location is getting high, so kind of second position. So, but the result is obvious. So digital capability is a key criteria. And this is a kind of customer behavior in MUFG Bank. So regardless of the pandemic, we are experiencing the trend indicating customers are shifting to digital channel from physical channel. So our online banking monthly active user, so-called MAU, has been being risen, especially past 1.5 years. Also, from right chart, you can see the fact the number of branch visitors are drastically down. So in year 2019, almost half of the 2015, a little bit higher than half, but almost half, I can say. And then for this, this is also a channel shift in account opening before after COVID-19. So this pie chart comparison of before after COVID-19 in account opening channel. So onboarding channel for MUFG Bank. So needless to say, so digital or contactless shift is obvious. So I'm personally interested in why TV teller is still such a popular. So it has 30% of the entire kind of account opening numbers. But maybe this is just my guess. Due to pandemic, the customer who visited our branches were asked to use the TV teller machine instead of going to the actual teller. So yeah, so kind of to maintain contactless transaction. So, but this is my guess, but it's interesting. Okay, and then also, human resource and the physical branch network in Japan will get impact from this digital shift. So, for example, MUFG's headcount will be reduced by 20%. It is around 4,000 people will be gone. But it's not kind of layoff or some very negative types of activity, but simply tons of people will become a kind of retirement age. So we will lose them from our bank. But this is a fact. And then so additionally, so branch network will be optimized. So as of now, every branch has full banking capabilities, like account opening and wealth management type of things, corporate banking support or things like that. But we will make this redesigned. So for example, 33% of current branches will be providing full banking service, whereas 40% to be closed and remain will be functionally redesigned to fit its market situation and the demography of their kind of customers. So it's also a very big change for us, I think. So because of this kind of situation, we do pursuing kind of digital transformation initiatives, MUFG Bank in Tokyo right now. And then there is a kind of core pillars of digital transformation initiatives right now. So first one is reforming operational processes. Second one is acceleration of the mobile shift. And the third one, collaboration with digital platforms like Grab or Amazon or Line or things like that. And then lastly, so data-driven financial services. Okay, and then I'm gonna start from reforming operational process. Okay, so this I use example of RPA. So it has become very common. RPA has become very common, but MUFG has been heavily investing RPA area. So for example, MUFG Bank Tokyo initially started this initiatives in 2015, 5 years ago, and then around the home mortgage operation area. I believe around that timing, no other banks in Japan had used the RPA solution. So I can say MUFG is a kind of fast runner in RPA area among Japanese banks. And like I said, so MUFG owns 360 plus year history. So it might sound nice for some of you, but in terms of digital transformation, it could be a barrier to pursue these activities because due to its longer history, day-to-day operations, including higher risk operations, are designed to be processed by humans. So, however, so as I mentioned, our head count is decreasing drastically in next few years. So therefore, RPA is necessary, not only automating perspective, but also continuity of bank operation. So the left side picture demonstrates the core benefit from RPA. So by comparing before and after, so you could see lower number of human required once RPA is activated like this. So other than that, so paperless operations and then progress transparency. And also it can enable us to location-free work. I think these parts are the kind of expected benefit from RPA types of things. This sounds very nice, but also RPA is very powerful. There are several barriers to make it happen. So for example, physical paper has lots of problems like here, staples, clips, and binders. So it takes longer time for us especially for removing staples. Clip and binders are relatively easier compared to staples, but a staple is very hard. And also unformatted papers, another example. So it happens basically non-bank formatted documents. I mean, of course, our bank has formatted document for account opening or loan application. It's a kind of formatted document, so easier for us to kind of categorize, classify, and also doing data extraction by utilizing RPA engines. But non-bank formatted documents, such as trading business, for example, invoice, insurance policy, these papers are always different in its design, customer by customer. So it requires manually sorting and manually data extraction because human is still good at finds the right answer in such a case. So for example, these three documents are invoice, okay, but sometimes location is different. We need to know invoice number, but for black colored form, invoice number is located top left. But for green form, invoice number is located in kind of middle right portion. So this is very hard for RPA engines to determine which data should be extracted from the single piece of papers. So yeah, so that's a kind of current barrier to have RPA types of engine for wide variety of areas. So to streamline, to change this situation and enhancing automation capability within MUFG, so MUFG signed a deal with Silicon Valley-based startup. So this is a kind of a case example, Ripcode. And then Ripcode, this is a kind of startup based in Hayward, California. And they are leading robotics digitization, and then combining hardware, physical robot, and software supported by machine learning or AI technologies to process and digitize document. So our team found this startups very unique, and then tried to make collaboration each other. And then, so as this news article says, so we officially signed a contract this year, And then so now we are trying to prepare to have RIP-Code's machine exported from Hayward to Japan. So still under kind of construction phase. Yeah, but we have signed this kind of deal. And then after that, what happened? So it will be covered the next slide. So this is how RIP-Code solution work. So for example, again, like I said, so staples, clip, binder causes a lot of problem in terms of automation, including RPA process. So, but anyway, so that's why so currently human must do preparation by hand and then sorting papers by hand and also scan and OCR document by hand and then classification and data checking by hand or just doing eyeball checking. Then these people are moving these scanned data to the some database area. So what change happened? What kind of change happened with RIP-Code? This is here. So of course, there is still several human interactions required. So for example, unboxing and removing clips. But a staple can be left on papers because their machine, this machine can remove staple automatically. So no human kind of manually removing task is required within their solution. And then after that, everything is fully automated. So scan, OCR, classification. Then this system can be connected with our internal data management platform or RPA system or other ERP system, whatever. And then so within this process, they are utilizing AI machine learning technologies. For example, to find out staples from a piece of paper, they are utilizing machine learning technology to determine, oh, this is a staple. Because sometimes, because recent copy machines are getting very clear kind of printing result. So sometimes we cannot, even for humans, or we can sometimes misunderstanding, oh, looks like this is a staple, but it's not. So to do so, so machine learning is supporting this kind of things to determine just removing actual papers, actual staples. And then they are doing a scan in 8K resolution, like 600 dpi and full color. It's contributing this OCR portion because OCR is totally depends on the kind of resolution of scanned document. And then after that, they do classification. For example, in my previous case, there is a blue color sheet, black, red, green, or like that. So their system can be identified, oh, this is invoice, this is insurance papers, or this is car driving license, or things like that. And then based on the document type, they can determine, okay, which area, which information should extract from each single papers. So this is a kind of beauty of RIP-Code solution. And so now, so that's why we are currently preparing to have this kind of machines in Japan. And then this is our first use case. So this, yeah, actually, so digitizing all the stored Hanko document is our first use case. It's not relating to RPA actually, but it's caused very big impact within MUFG. So background-wise, in the past, Hanko, I think for Japanese attendees, it's very easy to understand the kind of Hanko culture in Japan. So when customers open account with MUFG Bank, not only MUFG Bank, with bank, in this case, each individual needed to register their Hanko seal images to the bank. And then after that, in making some transaction like withdrawal of deposit or some account maintenance or some address change or things like that, they needed to chop this seal to the application form. And then banker will be checking if customer chopped the correct seal. And then, yeah, and determine if we can proceed this operation or not. So this Hanko document is very important. And then, yeah, previously that was very simple, just application form and then this Hanko image, that's it. But recently, due to higher demand for compliance things, antisocial types of things, we need to get a lot of attachment from customers, like driver license or some other documents. So currently, we have a Hanko document and some attachments. These all documents are stored in the bank warehouse. So in total, based on our estimation, there were 300 million images. So I can say it's too many to scan manually. And then since this kind of paper volume, there's so much storage cost is happened annually basis. And also, this Hanko document is very important for banking business for both individuals and corporate customers. So storage cost is very higher due to the requirement for higher security for storage. And also, sometimes branch people request this warehouse to send a kind of Hanko document image to each single branches. So that's why in the warehouse, several people are working and then waiting for branches request is coming. So very, very costly operation was still remaining in this area. So that's why MUFG decided to make all the document scanned by collaborating with LibCode. And then this slide says what are kind of estimated kind of benefit from LibCode project. So as I mentioned, there were 300 million images stored in our warehouse. Then if we scanned this document by manually, and then basically 4 people are required for one team. Remove staple, sorting, scan OCR, and check. These 4 people are required. If we ask these 4 people to scan everything, it will take 510 years. I'm not so sure. Around that time, human being is still existing. So in case we try to finish this within 1 year, 510 teams, so equivalent to 2,000 people are required to do so. But again, so currently our head count is decreasing trend. So it's totally unrealistic way for us to take as option. So that's why LibCode is coming. And so by utilizing their system and their machines, so we can complete everything within 5 years with 30 people. Yes. So this is a kind of operational efficiency portion within MUFG's DX. So from next slide, I'm gonna cover another topic, acceleration of the online channel shift. Okay, so this is another example of before and after COVID. So before COVID, so this bank RM visited customer place physically by taking transportation such as subway or sometimes taxi or car or sometimes bicycle. So also there were lots of physical papers for loan application or account maintenance or things like that. But it sounds kind of outdated, but this was quite normal before COVID. Then after COVID, our working situation is changed like this. Everybody, including customers, basically work from home situation. And then, fortunately, our bank itself had its own capability to have non-branch related employees stayed at home. And then, so but after that, so by using phone, emails, WebEx, looks like kind of communication-wise, it's doing well. But there are several issues still remaining. So for example, as I say, client communication done virtually. It's sometimes it's okay, I think. And then, but still there are some transactions which requires original forms of documents. I mean, physical papers. So these kind of to close this kind of transaction, we are currently experiencing a very difficult time to process these kind of things. And still, Hanko cultures prevents workers from work from home situation. So some employees needed to go their office only for shopping, kind of Hanko to the some Ginko, not a Ginko, sorry, bank application or some document. So this is a current situation. And then again, so communication-wise, it can be done by utilizing web meeting and also email and the telephones. But again, I need to say these communications platform is totally siloed. I mean, email is just email, the remaining in its server. And the telephone, there's no way to kind of making some records unless recording. And this kind of Zoom types of video meeting, it's okay. And then, but so that's why, so this is widely adapted. But unless recording, this is still kind of no tracking data. So everything is totally siloed. And then because of work from home situation, so work bank RM cannot oversee what the assistants are doing. These assistants are typically supporting bank RM in terms of clients communication. So these clients basically reach out to assistants for general issues like address change or some other very kind of easy application types of things. And also, since our bank is kind of big, we have a lot of organization internally. For example, PO means the product office, and the CSD means the customer service desks. And several subject matter experts are also existing. And sometimes these people separately reach out to customer. So these kind of communication lines very, very complicated, like spider web. So that's a kind of one issue. So that's why, therefore, we MUFG looked for some solution. And then, so this is another case example of Moxtra. So Moxtra is a kind of one-stop client interaction application where you kind of yes, and so kind of bank and our customers can be connected in a single platform. And then the unique point of the Moxtra is that their founding member is a former founder of WebEx. And then, so Moxtra's kind of technology is supported by so many WebEx related engineers. So yeah, so I think it's endorsing their technologies. And what is a kind of Moxtra's core benefit? So they, as I mentioned, they are providing one-stop portal. So it means that everything is one platform. Like I said, for just a telephone, email, or web meeting. So if we do everything in a single laptop, you need to click to the different application for each single purpose. But by utilizing Moxtra platform, since everything is on one platform, so just using Moxtra, that's it. For example, by using Moxtra, we can send text message or even for voice call can be happened within Moxtra. And then we can attach document like contract or presentation materials, and then can be shared with customers. And then during video call, we can share this document, and then customer can see clearly. And also there's an e-signature capability. So once bankers upload the contract, customer is just no need to be printed out or no need to be chopped. So just doing e-signature, that's it. And also there is a to-do management functions. So by using this, we can kind of share the necessary tasks which should be done in a kind of, for example, next couple of weeks or things like that. And it totally depends on the customer. This platform has a workflow approval function. So it means that sometimes customer has their own workflows before submitting some form to the bank. So for such a customers, this platform has a capability to provide workflow or approval function. So for example, if a customer needed to change something, for example, address or things like that, this green guy should make approval. In this case, this gray guy submit some document on the Moxtra, and then once this green guy click approval, the document will be sent to the bank. And also there is a kind of management dashboard, so management can see how their subordinates are working or collaborating with customers. And again, so there's a video meeting function and a dealing room function. So dealing room function means, okay, so for example, if we are communicating with some trading company in Japan, and then in this case, at the same timing, multiple project is ongoing. For example, purchasing some kind of M&A discussion and also loan discussion. So topic-wise, it's totally different. So we can separately making dealing room, just focusing each single topic. So everything is one platform. Also, that's why we MUFG think it could be useful within MUFG. And then now we are under pilot phase in Tokyo. And also, like this picture says, they got a second prize at MUFG Digital Accelerator Program held in last year. So through this kind of pilot phase, we are expecting this kind of results. So utilizing video, voice message, and then document collaboration. And also eventually retain entire communication history and a consistent communication with customer can be made. And also for transaction and operation portion, since everything is digital, not done by physical papers, so we can expect this Mokustra platform can be connected with banking system for straight through processing purpose, or we can connect Mokustra with RPA system to streamline back office process or like that. Okay, so this is a mobile shift portion. And then from next slide, I'm gonna change the topic to the collaboration with digital platformers. Okay, so this is kind of a hot topic for major banks, I think. Yeah, so globally, Citibank or even for Goldman Sachs are trying to make some collaboration with tech giants like Apple or Amazon or like that. And then as Japanese bank, MUFG Bank is also aimed to kind of develop
I don't know that one.
Oh, sorry, my Alexa is answering. So aim to develop new services by taking advantage of each other's strengths. So, but kind of formula of this collaboration is that from MUFG, since we are traditional bank, we have global customer base, we have credit strengths, and then we have know-how in financial businesses. And also we are good at regulatory compliance, a kind of risk management portion. And then, but for platformers, they do have online customer contacts, and they have a great application or online services. And then typically they have advanced technology and also data or data analytical capability. So we believe these kind of formula could work. And then actual case is this. Business alliance with Grab is one of the examples. So in this year, February, so MUFG signed a kind of contract with Grab. So the left bottom picture indicates what MUFG and Grab provide with this collaboration. So from MUFG, saying here, so experience in banking field and also all credit strengths and the risk management capabilities, like I said, including regulatory compliance and bank license types of things. So from MUFG, these pieces will be provided. And from Grab, so advanced technology or super application or various unique data are expected to be provided. So so this is a very big deal within MUFG. I hope for Grab 6 same. And then so this is I believe but before explaining that, I believe everyone knows Grab better than me because so Dr. Dashad Center has US Asia, so in its name. So, but just in case, very briefly, let me explain what Grab is. So Grab is one of the biggest unicorn companies in the Southeast Asia, and they're providing super app in the region. I believe definition of super app means they have a lot of kind of functions like shopping and food delivery, car sharing, or something like that. Even for shopping can be done in a single platform. And then Grab is a major provider in the Southeast Asia region. So main service is ride sharing and the food delivery. So far, more than 4 billion orders have been completed, as far as I heard. And then since they are super app, they thought they should have financial capability in it. Yeah. So and then they have a platform, and then they have live data, and they have technology. So that's a kind of core portion of this collaboration. And then none of them, so like platform, live data, and the technology, MUFG owns. But again, so MUFG owns extensive bank network in the region, powered by our partner banks. And so MUFG owns major shares of each partner banks, as you could see the MUFG organization chart. So like Currency, Danamon, a Vietnam bank, are currently defined as a partner bank of MUFG in the Southeast Asia. And then especially for Currency and Danamon, we own kind of major share of them. But for Vietnam bank, I think we have they are shared by less than 20%. So that's why Vietnam bank is not appeared on our organization chart of MUFG. But anyways, as kind of parent company, so we are collaborating heavily with this partner bank. And then by utilizing this partner bank's network or banking capability, MUFG is trying to make something interesting collaboration with Grab. So for example, this is MUFG partner bank and the Grab, and then we make joint product. And then this product will be offered by a Grab app, and then to the driver, sometimes to their drivers or their shop service providers, or even for end users. So potentially we can do this kind of business. And then already several services have been launched, like for example, in Currency. Currency is a Ayutthaya bank in Thailand. And then this year, May, COVID-19 relief fund is kind of provided for with restaurants. And also Indonesia bank, Danamon, we are providing kind of deposit types of product. And the Vietnam bank, we do a kind of account opening for drivers or things like that. Okay, so this is a kind of a collaboration with digital platform as an example. And then next topic is a data-driven financial services. Okay, so data-driven financial services are becoming popular recently. So this is an overview of our data-driven financial services. So unfortunately, I'm not super familiar with each single project appeared on here, but let me highlight briefly this project, Project Mars, and the initiatives happened in Grab collaboration. Okay, so this is one of the example from data-driven financial services. And then so MUFG is collaborating with Liquidity Capital, a startup in Israel. And the structure-wise, it's quite similar to Grab's case. So MUFG provides banking capability, and then they mean that Liquidity Capital provides data analyzing technology. And then so by utilizing non-financial data, so we are aiming to provide loans with promising startups such as SaaS service providers or like that. So basically, their business itself, SaaS startups or their business itself is successfully proceeded. But due to lack of history, it is very tough for us, traditional banks, to provide debt finance with them, because typically they still have some kind of deficit in their kind of financial statement. So by having liquidity capital's capability, so now we can obtain and analyze live data, so non-financial data, and then we can provide loans within very short period of time to these promising startups. So that's a kind of overview of collaboration with liquidity capital. So yeah, here's another example. So in traditional way, we needed to do everything manual and the limited source of data like financial statement, balance sheet, or profit and loss from customers like that. But now in this kind of collaboration, we can have API connection. So this API can be connected to customers, potential customers system, and we can obtain alternative data like account balance, invoice data, or things like that. And then these data can contribute to make tailor-made credit support powered by machine learning technology. And then typically, bank is looking at past performance, so it's called past-looking types of activities. But by having this kind of things, we can expect, oh, this business can be expand like this within next couple of months. So in this case, okay, our credit size can be bigger up to, for example, 1 million USD or things like that. Yeah, so it's very great example for utilizing data-driven financial services. And this next one is a kind of coming back to graph collaboration. So this example is actually become public yesterday. So MUFG's partner bank, Currency Thailand, and Grab are launching new AI lending for Grab drivers. So since drivers, all the data, including salary or driving time or things like that, is owned by Grab. So by gathering this data and then combined with Currency, Ayutthaya Bank's credit engines, so we are now able to provide a loan to Grab drivers. For example, their working capital or their car or their bike loan, etc. So this is a very new, but another example of data-driven financial services. Okay, and then lastly, let me introduce the kind of AI technology lab with Grab. So currently, Grab and MUFG and the partner banks established AI technology lab in Southeast Asia. And then at this moment, I cannot mention in detail today, but by utilizing this, we will make next generation great data-driven financial services in near future. So yeah, so that's it from data-driven financial services. Okay, so the other slide is just a kind of appendix. So I'm not so sure everybody is kind of get interested. This is the MUIP, our investment arms, investment thesis. So, and also this is their current, okay, sorry. This is their current portfolio of investment. But yeah, I don't get detailed about it because of time already 45 minutes is past. Okay, so that's it. Thank you so much.
So Yamada-san, thank you for a great, very informative presentation. And for everybody, we will post the slides on our website, so you will be able to see a copy of the slides, assuming everything is okay with the bank. So it's fascinating to see that, you know, you've got this digitalization that's going on, kind of changing away from the Hanko culture, and also new models of interacting with customers through Moxtra, and this kind of new sort of credit model that you've got. And I'm noticing that a lot of it is very active in with Grab in Southeast Asia. Is it easier to start something in Southeast Asia than it is in Japan?
I can say it's kind of easier, especially in Southeast Asia only. Yeah, because as you know, so interest margin is bigger in Southeast Asia compared to Japan. Japan is just a thin margin. So this kind of business is not so much profitability, totally unfortunately. So
Okay.
yeah.
So I'm curious what you see as sort of the future of the Hanko culture, because right now there are still a lot of transactions that are happening in general society where people are, you know, putting their seal onto the physical documents. Will that gradually disappear, do you think?
I think so. I definitely believe like that because yeah, so even in Japan, so currently e-signature is kind of under discussion how to adapt this kind of technology. And then I think it's kind of matter of customer experience. So once Japanese people get to know the kind of beauty of e-signature types of things, they no longer, I believe, insist to use Hanko. But I personally like Hanko.
Right now is the kind of pilot projects that are going on, but is the government approving e-signature yet? Or is that something that involves regulatory kind of change?
Okay, I'm not super familiar with this area, but as far as I know, for some area, we can use e-signature because DocuSign is operating in Japan as well. So yeah, but for banking area, so since it contains fund transfer types of transactions, so we carefully checking related regulation or like that. That's why it takes longer time.
Okay, and some of what you're saying kind of makes me think that the boundaries of the banking business might actually be a little bit shifting, fuzzier than they used to be. Banks were kind of very closely regulated into what kind of investments they could get into. And, like the difference between banking and insurance, right? Are you seeing those boundaries kind of become harder to maintain, or are you kind of concerned with lots of these new online only financial services firms that may not be completely banks, but they sure seem to be getting into banking areas?
Yeah, I think that's really good question. And then I personally believe it's totally rely on kind of brand acknowledgement types of things. And then from this kind of viewpoint, fortunately, our bank currently owns almost 100% brand kind of acknowledgement. But not so sure for future generation. So like younger people, which kind of, for example, LINE, Japanese messaging platform, is heavily used by this younger generation. And then in case LINE is getting kind of becoming super app like Grab, if I were a younger generation person, I might choose the option to open account with LINE. So yeah, from this kind of context, it's quite difficult for me to predict what will be happened in the future.
Well, and it's quite uncertain here, right? We have these online services like Robinhood that seem to be kind of a bank combination stockbroker, right? And young people are quite happy to use things like Robinhood. And this kind of, the regulators don't seem to be keeping up with the real changes in new business.
Yes. And I think business model is totally different, right? So I mean, bank business model and the LINE's business model is totally different. Basically, they are earning profit from kind of advertisement types of activity, whereas we are doing very traditional banking activity with thin margin. And then, I think this is another barrier for us to keep investing in kind of younger generations onboarding types of product. Because if I successfully make someone in the kind of university to open account with MUFG, but basically they don't have a lot of money. So just I think wallet size is kind of limited. So from this kind of limited wallet, it's quite hard for Japanese banks to make profit. I think it's kind of a deficit for us because of the deposit insurance or things like that. So that's why even for our top management, it's quite difficult for making right answer, especially for this customer segment. But everybody of course, understand the younger generation is important, but at the same time, they are not profitable so, for us. So yeah, how to balance
But
this?
on the other hand, I've heard from other bankers that there's kind of a shift in the banks away from retail consumer business and more toward business banking.
Mhm.
That the businesses need a full range of services. That picture you had about the Moxtra platform, that was really interesting because you could really do that not as a person but as a business.
Mhm.
That seems rather powerful. We've got a question from the audience that is great. And this has to do with something I want to set it up for everybody by mentioning that a lot of IT development in Japan actually happened quite early. Long time before there were smartphones, by Apple and whoever, Japanese had the iMode phone and had some other phones that were kind of feature phones
Yeah.
that were very similar to smartphones. But the problem that happened is that Japan had gone its own way with these technologies, and it went into what a lot of people have called the Galapagos syndrome,
Yeah.
meaning that you've got great technologies in Japan that nobody uses anywhere else. And the question is, how do you avoid that happening with this kind of situation? Because things like, even in the banking business, our person who asked our question mentioned that foreign ATM machine makers really couldn't get traction in the Japanese market. So what about now in the digital world?
Okay, yeah, that's an interesting question. And I needed to admire, so our Japanese banking industry is already in Galapagos syndrome. so, yeah, so, yeah, so for
So
example,
building a bridge away from the islands.
for example, Hanko culture, as well as some very lower interest, it's quite unique. Yeah, so yeah, because as I mentioned, so like in Southeast Asia, so the interest margin is quite high. Even in the US, we can still get some margin from banking business. But in Japan, almost no margin at all. So yeah, I can say this is totally unique situation. Yeah, and then, so lower interest is sounds good if consumer takes loan from bank, but at the same time, it's kind of very making a lot of problem in the future economics. So yeah, it's quite hard to answer. But anyway, to avoid
it's a hard question.
But anyway, so to avoid Galapagos situation, so that's why I'm here in Silicon Valley to learn what happens in the valley. Or other colleagues located in Singapore, or London, or New York are also looking at what happens in each area. And also our kind of ecosystem so MUFG is a kind of limited partner of some local venture capitals. So they have another information. So by knowing this, we can see and we can feel what kind of wave and a trend is happened in this area globally. So I hope this kind of activity can contribute to avoiding become a deeper Galapagos syndrome.
So I have a related question from the audience that's also a great question. How do you identify the partners that you've worked with, like Moxtra or like Ripcord? Was that through the kind of VC investment activities of the bank, or did you put out a request for a proposal, or how did you identify them?
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's also, I think, good question. And then I believe, the kind of question, the person who gave this question is expecting something frameworked answer. But unfortunately, no. So it's totally timing fast, and also so our kind of human interactions between startups. So of course, also we are looking for interest technologies and trying to make something digital. But before that, we are human. So our communication is doing well or not is a very, very important portion. This is the first. And then secondary, timing is both internally and external. So for external portion, startups has some kind of stage, right? So Series A, Series B, Series C or D or something like that. And then in my experience, the startups around Series A or before typically has no capability to kind of a global expansion. So if we ask something to them, their answer is no, sorry, at this time, no. So we are not ready for or still we are not just focusing on US market. Our investors don't agree this kind of things like that. So this is totally timing, right? And also internally there is another timing. So for example, if our users, run your business, has some appetite to have this kind of technology or solution, it's another timing issue. So yeah, so it's very kind of very primitive things, but I can.
Well, it's a timing issue, but it's also a lot of hard work on your part, because I'm guessing, as you say, you're here in Silicon Valley, and so I'm sure the company is expecting you to keep up with all the new things that are happening here. Do you spend a large part of your time each day really looking around at possible startup companies or reading industry news or, um,
Okay,
yeah,
yeah. Initially, yes. So initially means when I was at the US ATMC or just joined this team around 2016 or 17. But yeah, eventually, so I can have some kind of sense. Oh, okay, these startups, oh, no chance. Or these startups could have chance. So yeah, by industry or something like that. So so due to this, I'm not using a lot of my time, spending a lot of my time to looking for some startups by utilizing some information sources like CB Insights or PitchBook or type of things.
okay,
But, these information sources are mainly used for making some comparison. So in case I found, oh,
okay.
this startup is very interesting, what is their competitor? By knowing their competitor, we can understand their kind of solutions deeply. And yeah, and also as long as I myself having a great understanding of these startups, my kind of comment or recommendation to Tokyo getting more convincing, right? So yeah, so for that purpose, I'm spending a lot of time. But for sourcing portion, yeah, honestly, I'm not using so much time recently. But it's totally depends
Okay.
on the team members' kind of situation or level or timing.
So, very frankly, I'd like to ask a follow-up question, because in big organizations, not just Japanese organizations, but it certainly happens a lot in Japanese organizations. The real issue is that people have great ideas. They find new companies, they find possible partnerships and so forth, but then they really have a hard time getting the home office to understand the new trend and the new kind of opportunity that really would benefit, means a pilot study is worthwhile. How do you how do you handle that problem? How do you try to convince the home office, and do you do regular reporting back to the home office so that everyone sees like report from Silicon Valley, or is it really targeted? You have to find the right people in the parent
Okay.
company to get something started.
Yeah, so that's also interesting question. And then okay, first of all, I needed to say, yeah, my answer should be supported by multiple aspects. And
Uh-huh.
then, so firstly, yes, so convincing users is very hard. So, but at the same time, we are located in Silicon Valley. So it means our team has a lot, okay, before COVID-19, so our team had a lot of chance to attend business travelers from head office. So sometimes these travelers are kind of our C class, C something, CT or something like that. So but typically these people's schedule is very busy in Tokyo. But thanks to the business travel, their schedule relatively have some buffer to compensate things. Yeah. So previously by taking this kind of opportunity, yeah, I did promotion, so by explaining in detail. So yeah, by having this kind of conversation, so these top management person willing to connect me with some other key person in Tokyo. So in such a scenario, yeah, so our initial conversation is quite going well. Yeah, but it's not a kind of killer content, but very important. And also, and the organization is also very important. So so as my biography said, around 2006, I was at the IT initiatives division in our bank. But at that timing, there was no word like fintech or yeah, like that. So honestly, our division looked kind of very strange to other divisions. Nobody knows what our division is doing. So some say they are just playing or like that. So in such a situation, under circumstance, it's quite hard for us to convince users because user owns responsibility for budget or customer related issues. So, but thanks to the current situation, so kind of fintech or blah blah tech types of things. And also our division's position is kind of getting, how should I say, more highlighted area. I mean, from kind of wing side to the more centralized side. So it's drastically changed in terms of communication with our users. And this is a first. And also, yeah, thanks to these organizations, yeah, so our division could have some sort of power to talk with other divisions. So it makes things a little bit easier. But of course, regulation is regulation, risk is risk. So we needed to have a lot of time to convince basically second line people.
Yeah, right. Not the first line, but the second line people.
Yeah.
Okay. So we have another question from the audience that I'm very happy was asked. Is MUFG exploring digital currency? Especially, this could impact both operations, risk management, and also, Forex business, international transfer of funds.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good question. So especially for digital currency, including crypto, okay, this is just my personal opinion. So, but I think this, okay. Also, just recently, some major banks in the US or some other countries launched or released, so they are refocusing on crypto area. But personally, I'm still skeptical about that, especially for fund transfer, international fund transfer portion, because I have experience in kind of transaction banking business in Southeast Asia. And at that timing, I could see how much each country's central banks are trying to protect their own currency. So, but by opening their financial market to these crypto players, it contains a huge risk for example, Malaysia or Indonesia or Vietnam or types of countries. So eventually, I think these regulation would be a barrier for this kind of crypto types, digital currency types of things. Yeah, but at the same time, I needed to say, so it totally depends on the use case. So if we could find best use case which perfectly fits the crypt capability. In this case, of course, we can just do it. So but at this moment, still, I personally couldn't see the area which crypt technology is fit perfectly.
Well, one area that you hear about on the news some is a resistance toward using the dollar for international transfers because of the kind of severity of American regulations of dollar-denominated movement of funds. Are you seeing that as an opportunity for digital currency, maybe?
I think so. Yeah, I think so. So as a kind of startup period, so their transaction volume is kind of limited. So regulators typically doesn't say anything. But once they getting bigger, I think they will be charged or fined.
Okay.
From regulators, sometimes MUFG, has same problem.
Okay.
Yeah.
We've got a question about the external systems,
Mhm.
integrating the kind of systems by companies like Moxtra or Ripcord to the legacy platforms inside MUFG. Are you able to do that, or are they still kind of standalone right now?
Okay. So for both portion, yeah, first of all, it is kind of, especially for Mokustra, this is still under pilot. So we are using just a kind of cloud-based service right now. But this is still under discussion if we use this platform on the cloud. I mean, not public, but a private cloud, more on kind of on-premise side, or just a stored kind of on-prem situation. This is under discussion. And then for RIP code case, so yeah, of course, we did a lot of discussion with our internal, system division. And then, yeah, of course, some kind of difficulty was happened, especially for security area. But yeah, eventually, we find the way to overcome this kind of situation. So yeah, of course, our bank has very old system and very traditional core banking system. But these RPA related things is sometimes not doesn't touch core banking system at all. So in this case, very quite easier, not easier, but yeah, but it's capable to have kind of our inside of our system architectures.
So what about Ripcord? Once you have all the documents digitized, will they be easy to put into the legacy system, or will you gradually have to move the legacy system into some new platform?
I think we needed to have some new platform in terms of data management. So because yeah, just scan is not the end, right? So after that,
Uh-huh.
we needed to utilize scanned data. To do so, so we should have great data management platform, kind of to search certain document from the tons of millions of scanned data.
Yeah.
So I definitely believe we needed to utilize private, no, private cloud types of things, yeah, to make things smoother. But actually, this portion is still under discussion. Yeah.
Okay. I have kind of a comment for everybody. You
Mhm.
know, it's interesting that your discussion of digital transformation started with removing staples from documents. And I know that seems like a small thing, but even with artificial intelligence, people may not be aware that most of the labeling of training data has to be done by humans.
Mm, mm.
And this is one of the things that's very slow in developing an
Yeah.
AI system, is getting the data into a format that it can really lead to the inferencing. Um, so, starting with removing the staples is kind of an interesting, necessary problem. Have a question from the audience. Is MUFG using a hybrid cloud, or do you have your on-premise work, or is it mostly public cloud?
I think more kind of in terms of cloud usage, we are using AWS, but
Okay.
totally tailored AWS. So I can say it's all mostly on-prem. Yeah.
And I can imagine that even though it's in a data center that they may run, it may be completely enclosed.
Yeah.
I remember one time visiting one of the Cisco data
Oh,
centers and there being a locked door, and my guide telling me that we can't go beyond this door. There's some financial institution stuff in there.
yes. So on-prem like cloud cannot bring a lot of benefit to us in terms of cost efficiency. Yeah. So now, just recently, yeah, some people mentioning to use more kind of light cloud. I mean, more public cloud types of things. Yeah, but yeah, not so sure if it can make yeah happen. Yeah, or not.
So another question about the kind of new credit risk modeling. So being able to use the non-traditional data, it makes things very powerful and opens up new possibilities. Is the bank making special kind of efforts to avoid any kind of bias in the use of,
Oh,
that analysis?
okay. Yeah. So honestly, I don't have clear answer for this question, but yeah, I know in Tokyo, kind of dedicated team members have been put tons of effort for that. So, but sorry, not so sure for bias
Mhm.
portion.
Yeah, okay. Um, but also, I should ask how you see the kind of needs for data privacy and data security, because in a sense, there's a trade-off. The
Mm,
more privacy you let your customers have, the less security everybody has.
yeah.
So how does MUFG look at privacy?
I think, yeah, as one of the traditional bank with 360 plus years history. So, yeah, I believe by nature, our bank take care of our kind of reliability. So,
Okay.
from this kind of viewpoint, yeah, we will still, I think for some, I think our bank will still kind of keep some, how should I say, conservative positioning in terms of, yeah, data, this kind of privacy portion to protect our customers nicely or appropriately. So, mm, yeah, but it's totally depends on the area, right? So we can, some portion, we don't need to take care a lot in terms of privacy, but some portion we need to very, very carefully to do so. So yeah, but before digital transformation is coming, this kind of highest kind of policy was applied to everywhere. So
Yeah.
now I think, yeah, we can kind of triage types of things. So so it depends on its risk. So so yeah, yeah, so by doing so, I think we can see some way to maneuver this kind of issue nicely. Yeah, but regulation issue is always very tough because regulation is also changing. So
Okay.
yeah, yeah. So today is okay, but tomorrow might be not okay. So yeah, it's quite hard for us actually.
Yeah. So Yamada-san, one last question before we finish up the formal part of the seminar. Um, are you seeing something on the horizon, technology or kind of new business relationship for banks that you think is really exciting, that you think would be good for us to keep an eye on?
Yeah, yeah. I think so. I think so. Of course, of course. Yeah.
Okay. What
Hmm.
kind of things excite you when you go to work every day?
Okay, yeah. So of course, especially these past 1 to 2 years, I put a lot of energy to make Mokusra project, a Ripkoto project happen. But
Yeah.
and then I needed to work as a kind of middleman
Yeah.
between Tokyo head office and then startups. So to balance the communication, Tokyo head office is always very strong requirement
Right.
to startups. But before that, I needed to understand that they are startup. So yeah,
Hmm.
I needed to carefully choose the kind of word and yeah, and try to make things smooth. So, but this kind of, yeah, eventually this I can say this is communication, but it's very, very interesting and I'm very, yeah, happy to do this kind of things.
It is, and
Yeah,
it's a really important job, and not many people can do it.
yeah, that's why,
Really
yeah.
happy that you would give us these specific cases as well as tell us kind of in general what's going on with the bank.